What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you some Browns talk. A little bit of the recap, a little bit of the preview, and a lot of the in between stuff that's been going on this week. We are approaching the debut of Deshaun Watson in the Cleveland Browns jersey. Unfortunately, it will not be at home for his first game, but he is going up against his former team, the Texans, which should be a good warm up game for him in terms of getting the rust knocked off a little bit. I found it pretty funny to go on Twitter today and see Alex Van Pelt, of all people, comment on Deshaun Watson. Just comment on the Browns in general. I feel like I haven't heard or seen the guy in forever. Not that it matters, because what's his job again?
They throw him out there when it gets controversial.
He's like, he looks close enough to Freddie Kitchens. We'll be fine.
Right.
throw him under the bus.
Fair enough.
Poor Alex Van Pelt. Don't know if he has an actual job, but dude's just there and just says what he says. But
he is just there.
It is an interesting week. Jeff, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Oh man, this is kind of a tough week because nobody really wants to talk about the game for the most part, obviously. And then you have, you're just gonna have a lot of distractions, but that's typical with this situation. And I'm not really certain that if we win, it'll be cool, obviously, because we'll win. But it's like I'm not sure if this is really there's not really a huge win aspect to this game. If we win, it's like, all right, this is the worst team in the league. Is it not? Like, are they not the worst team in the league? They gotta be. Who's their starting quarterback? Kyle Allen. Like, they're not even starting Mills anymore. That's how bad it is. But if we lose, then it's like, oh dear Lord. If we lose, I mean, that's just gonna be.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like losing is so bad just because people will compound it with like, oh, shouldn't have traded for Watson and blah.
He looks so bad. He's probably not going to look that good. Hate to break it to people.
Preseason game, and listen, that's not.
I'm not
trying to be like, yeah, look at his preseason game. It was bad. I'm saying like.
It's par for the course.
Of course, he's going to have like rust. The dude hasn't played in 2 years.
If he doesn't have rust, I'll be more like it'll be good, but I'll be like more surprised if he doesn't have rust. Obviously,
yeah.
If he throws for 4 touchdown runs for one,
let's be honest.
I'm be like, okay,
probably light it up, and it'll be one of those things where it's like he'll probably light it up, and people will still find stuff to be upset about.
They'll probably have some drop passes. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know if he. And I mean, how many of you of course saw highlights?
Don't talk about the drop passes. You might hurt someone's feelings.
Well, God forbid NFL athletes could freaking. Cleveland sports, man, is so soft. Like, Jesus Christ. Catch the football. It's your job. It is your job.
Yeah, and then go and post it on Twitter and have everyone freak out because you're posting.
Well, if you're here, all right. Here's my thing about that. If you're only there's some people who are like that. It's I saw somebody who posted that. Whatever, you're allowed to post what you want, but then I saw a reporter in a similar vein post a whole bunch of passes. Most of them were actually caught. So it's like, I get it. It's easy to be a narrative-driven reporter. There's really not a whole lot of objective news anymore, especially in sports, especially with this situation. So, whatever.
Yeah, Brown's Twitter is just like, when the whole shenanigans happened and all that, we should have just turned it off for the whole year, like it's almost like I wish I could turn it off for the whole year, but at the same time I need to be in tap and knowing what's going on. But some people just don't know how to.
Well, we didn't even really talk about Deshaun Watson outside of the first 5 minutes we got him, but now it's like, all right, he's going to play every week. So
but
we're going to talk about him.
But me and you, I think we did a good job of trying to stick to the Browns.
Correct.
And not trying to be like every week, we'll just wait till Watson.
Well, that's what people don't understand about any pro sports, because it's all literally and I will always pound the table on this. Like, it's okay to if it's okay to like admire athletes, I'm fine with that, but don't like, oh, they're my role model. Like that's so corny. Like the team.
If you're a child, sure. Okay, you don't know better. Like you really don't know
but
better.
At some age, like your parents should be like, okay, like these people are not role model. Like they can be, like some aspects of their life can be, but like you have to understand these are the 1% of their profession. So unless you're gonna reach the 1% of your profession, which I'm not saying you can't, power to you. You know, sky's the limit for every human being that walks the earth. I totally believe that. But it's like this guy, you know, 45 million, like you're not like him. You're not. And hope in all the bad ways. Good thing you're not like him. So with that being said, people forget that it's a team sport, and all the elite sports stories are team oriented stories. So it's like, oh, Deshaun Watson, who cares? Who cares if he plays really good? Cool. But it's like he's gonna play really good because, you know, Nick Chubb is also on the field. You know, hopefully Amari Cooper has a good performance. The defense comes together, and, you know, the offensive line does their job. And it's kind of like, well, he's not, like we've always said since he's come back, he's not out there playing defense. So if we give up 35, it really doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah. And my thing with just keeping it to like the individual and team conversation, we said before this week, you know, even when Watson comes back, he doesn't fix, like you said, he doesn't fix the problems on defense. He doesn't play 11 positions on defense and play them well. He could, like Jeff said, he could score 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and we could still lose this game, and people would still probably, you know, blame him. But I think I'm so ready to see him, maybe not this week, but, you know, against like the Bengals, who are the game that we have after the Texans, you know, that's a team we've dominated in the past couple of years.
Still got to play the division 3 times. Like, obviously it's going to be good football.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how the dynamics of the offense change. You know, all credit to Jacoby, and let's transition into, you know, giving Jacoby his flowers a little bit. Absolutely. I was absolutely I wouldn't call myself a Jacoby hater, but I did criticize him early on in the season, and I think more of it lies on how the offense was being called and how the offense is called in comparison to you know, Jacoby's actual play, because at the end of 11 games, Jacoby sits at 2,608 yards passing, 236 completions out of 368 for 64.1%. That's pretty, you know, for him. I think that's pretty good. And then, you know, threw for 12 touchdowns, threw 6 interceptions.
2-1, fine, perfect.
I think that's pretty good. And now we're sitting where we're at. I think he did as much as he could.
Record just wasn't great.
The record just wasn't great, unfortunately, and it's not on him. Obviously, we've talked about the defense and situational things, but
those stats are also new team, new playbook, and people are very quick to forget that Deshaun Watson did not get suspended. Jacoby didn't take any first team reps until like 2 weeks left in the preseason. So I mean, those are pretty respectable numbers for a guy learning a new system, new head coach, new play caller.
A journeyman, you know.
Everything.
He's everywhere.
But that's what we contracted him to do. Like, he was worth every penny of what we paid for him.
Yeah, and if for God knows what, knock on wood, God bless it, don't have knock on wood, if Deshaun gets hurt or whatever, you know, he's a
we'll be fine.
Yeah, he's a suitable replacement. It's just a matter of if the defense gets on track, we can really, you know, get things moving with this team. But we'll keep talking about it. The defense is what's gonna be the, you know, the reason we win or we lose games. Because at the end of the day, the offense it's always putting up points for the most part. And now with Deshaun, it'll be even more interesting. You know who I'm really interested to see moving forward with Deshaun is someone who I think has fallen off, and we expected him to be traded at the trade deadline. Kareem Hunt. Is it just me, or has he felt like a shadow of himself and just in this offense?
Yeah, they don't want it. I'm telling you, they're intentionally driving his value down. They have to be. There's no other way around it, because like, he's good. I don't know.
It feels like he's not getting the opportunities that he used to get.
They opt
even earlier on in the season.
These like end around double reverses, which obviously inherently scored a touchdown for us last weekend, but it's like, I don't know. You're not really does he catch balls? I feel like he's an elite pass catcher and they don't even throw to him. So that's a good point. I thought you were going to say Anthony Schwartz because it's just like, just run a go route though. Screw it. Who cares? Let Deshaun make a guy miss. Let Deshaun make the guy off the edge miss and just throw the deep ball. You might as well run it once.
Yeah, you get it once. If he drops it in his in wide open, then hey.
That's why they had to do the double reverse because that was like a high chance he was going to catch that.
Right, but I just feel like in the past I'll have to go back and look on it, but like I feel like Kareem has just been, since the trade deadline specifically, I feel like I've just heard less and less and less about him, or seen less and less about him. It feels like he's not even really a part of like the offense, and I think like when you think about Watson coming back, you think about like RPOs and stuff. Sure. I feel like that's a Kareem Hunt and Deshaun Watson like dream waiting to happen. Like, for lack of better words, a wet dream waiting to happen. So, but I think that's something to keep an eye on. Is like player usage in terms of the skilled positions. Obviously, Nick's going to get his carries, and they're going to do the normal run game stuff. But now we get into the really cool aspect of what Deshaun Watson actually brings to an offense, and his legs. If you look to all the quarterbacks that we've had here since the team came back, not a single one of them compared to Deshaun with the capability he has with his legs. Specifically, you can get into the throwing and everything later on. I think that's something that I need to personally like see the eye test of, because I didn't watch him in Houston all that much, but I know that he can throw the ball. I'm just more, as of right now, intrigued with the idea of the running game / RPO game becoming a thing, because with Kevin, even Kevin hasn't had a quarterback that, in Minnesota, he didn't really, Kirk Cousins isn't a runner. He's not an RPO guy. It's really going to be an interesting part of the season. These 6 games, right? Right, Jeff? Am I losing my mind? No, 6 games left. It's going to be really interesting to see if the playbook adheres to the norm, and I would say it might adhere to the norm, just because they're like, man, 6 games, we're sitting at 4-7. Like Jeff said, we win this game, it's the worst team in the league. We'll keep things alive. We lose this game,
looks weird. Looks
weird, and then
it'd be a Browns things to do to lose this game. I'm gonna predict that we win it, at the end of this video. But it's another week where I don't think we're seeing anything crazy from Stefanski, because he's
trying to ease him in.
He's of the relatively high IQ that he's trying to ease him in, and he doesn't need to call anything crazy to beat this team.
Right.
If it was a team like right off the rip, like let's say this was Buffalo this week instead of Houston, I think you might see some crazy things. But I wouldn't put it past him, because you were talking about Watson being able to run. I wouldn't put it past him to call a design run play. I know that might be controversial, because we don't need to. Like, he's going to do it on his own and get plus plays just out of happenstance, because that's kind of the athlete he could be. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Deshaun Watson like running play just to try to get his confidence there, like, pick up a first down or something. And we have the blockers to do it. I'd say definitely not if you didn't have a good offensive line. And maybe we'll see if Njoku plays, obviously a plus blocker, but we'll see. It should be interesting. And Stefanski, like people saying Stefanski on the hot seat all year, I think this is a stretch of games where if he's going to be on the hot seat, it's going to be these games, because the offense better after this week.
It better not take a step backwards,
Right. Like, it better look pretty damn good. And even if it's not results great, it better just look good. Like I said, if the balls are there, if people just aren't doing their job, catching it, if we're moving the ball good and then we can't get in the end zone, there's going to be a lot of factors, but I'll give him about like 2 or 3 quarters of this game, and then I want to see the fireworks really pop off.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's like when I was talking about like the Bengals game. It's like I'm really, like you said, Texans, worst team in the league. Kevin probably not going to open the playbook up that much. I expect RPO, but I don't expect like what you said, like a designed run with him. Just because I feel like nowadays, even like with the Ravens or with the Cardinals, I feel like they want to get away from those situations because they don't want to put their players in
right,
in harm's way, for lack of better terms. They're always in harm's way playing the
I just expect I kind of expect the shell of the playbook to be the same, but I expect chances. I just expect to show, maybe not, like I said, maybe not this week, but going forward, I just expect him to take chances and like smaller windows more often than what Jacoby did, especially with our personnel. Like DPJ, not really a huge separator, but doesn't always mean he's not open. So it's like just throw the ball his way and see what happens.
We've seen him get separation, but even like Amari, like I feel like Amari hasn't been used down the field very much, and I feel like he's got the ability to, and even like red zone situational, like jump balls. Like I'm interested to see like how many more jump ball chances you take with a Deshaun Watson throwing them. Obviously Njoku is your biggest guy out there, but I think Amari's got those hands like no other.
And interestingly enough, I haven't done I meant to have been doing the research on this, but did Pharaoh Brown play
in Houston? Yes.
With him in Houston? So I wonder if he's 6'6", 258. Like if Njoku doesn't play, I'll be curious to see if that was like a comfortability thing with Watson. Like, hey, bring this like lower key player on, then give him a little bit of chemistry just to see if that kind of helps his confidence. But that might be an interesting storyline to watch.
Yeah, in 2020, which I believe was Watson's last season, it's technically Pharaoh Brown's best year of his career. He had 163 yards, which is a little shy of his best year, but he had 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry. 2020 is easily his best year. He had 14 receptions for 163 yards. 2021, he had 23 receptions for 171, which is far less average. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a comfortability there for sure. I'm very interested because I think even then there was another tight end in front of Pharaoh Brown, who played very well at that point in time.
He wasn't even that good, but
right. God, now I want to like go back and look at that Texans team, because I think whoever it was, I remember he had a decent season with Watson at the helm. But getting back to just talking about this team and the offense kind of changing and revolutionizing.
Darren Fells had 21 catches that year.
And Darren Fells was a Brown.
For 312 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty good for 21 catches.
That's why I was like trying to remember. I knew there was a reason that.
I mean, that team was sneakily like decent.
Yeah, I think they lost a lot of games, but
decent roster. I don't know how that team. They were 4-12, but like,
I think the defense was very, very bad though.
Just kind a lot of guys coming to the end of their career, like end of their Texans career, because like some of these guys are still obviously in the league, like J.J. Watt, Zach Cunningham. They had Bradley Roby and Justin Reed. Like,
yeah,
they all
like
went
you said,
elsewhere.
all guys that ended up leaving, and then also J.J. Watt injury prone, but Watson went nuts though in terms of stats that year. But yeah, I think moving forward, and we'll get to the Texans game here next, but moving forward, I don't know what I want out of this offense, because I want to see it really open up, but I also don't want to like open it up and have it be for nothing, like we lose it. Like you said, we lose this game. It's like, what's
you got to win the game first before you get the offense dialed in.
Right. I'd rather just keep the Jacoby playbook because that's what I'm going to refer to the first 11 games.
Right.
The Kobe playbook. I'd rather just keep that and let Deshaun like have an easy opener and just kind of get the rust knocked off. If he has 2 interceptions, I'm not going to really care. It's not going to really throw me off or nothing. But like you said, I'd like for it to be like a normal game this time around, just easy win. It's got to be an easy win, but nothing's ever easy for a Browns fan.
Especially on the road.
Especially on the road. So, and well, it hasn't been very good at home either. But, Jeff, with that all being said, let's get into predictions.
Mm-hmm.
With
that all being said, I'm gonna just totally disregard everything that was just said.
I haven't predicted a win in a long time. Beating Tampa is very nice. We didn't really talk about that. Don't really need to talk about that because outside of the offense doing what it normally does, the defense finally played a good game, but we know that happens every once in a blue moon. Moving forward, though, Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns, against the Texans. I'm going to say this is such a stupid prediction from me, but I'm going to say the Browns get to 31 points and they hold the Texans to 13.
Wow. Basically on the same page.
Really?
27-10 Browns.
Whoa, it feels so
I just got good
stupid
vibes around like the locker room and like everyone's got good stuff to say and it's been like a nice, I don't know. I like it. And this team just sucks. Like they could try their hardest and I don't think they could. I'm sure they could beat us, but we play good against teams that aren't very good. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It just feels like the point differential is way too much for like
it'll probably be way closer.
Browns. Right. But I've got to believe that this is the worst team in the NFL.
It's just a good matchup for us too. Like if we go down, this is the first game on the schedule where it's like if we go down 10, I'm not going to be extremely worried.
Right.
Like it's Kyle Allen, it's a rookie running back who has been playing very good, Dameon Pierce the last couple of weeks. Brandon Cooks is your biggest offensive weapon. And I can't even name too many people on their defense. Like,
is Christian Kirksey still there?
Maybe like they have Stingley Jr.
Stingley. What was that? Cunningham.
That's it.
Cunningham, the linebacker
that I like. Cunningham.
Yeah.
Is he even there? I don't need casuals. I guess we're casuals.
We're casuals, but I think you're right. Even if they had the what's the defeating quality of a Browns game, you get the 2 minutes and into the second quarter, or your 2 minutes to the end of the second quarter, and the other team scores and they get the ball out of halftime. Even if that happened,
we survived this last week.
Right, I wouldn't be worried about it. So, Jeff, we both got wins coming up. What is your final thoughts for this week, for this episode?
I just want to watch football. Like I'm just sick, like you said, sick of Twitter.
It's a lot better because now I actually want to watch football as well. A couple of weeks ago, we were just like, let's just go watch the Cavs.
I'm excited to watch them play though. Like
this
is elite talent. This is presumably the elite of elite talent that has ever stepped foot on the field as a Browns
at the most
player.
important position.
You got to be optimistic until reality strikes us in the face, which is very likely. So,
oh, Jeff, that's why I love you.
That's why I love you.
Oh my goodness,
we love the Browns. That's why we love the Browns.
That's why we come back up here every week to talk Browns. But if you all made it to the end of this video, and you're as excited as we are about Deshaun Watson making his debut, hopefully turning this season around, if not, at least making things interesting, make sure you're leaving a like. Make sure you guys are subscribing. If that button isn't already, hit the bell notification. Leave us a comment. What is your thoughts on Deshaun coming back? What are your thoughts on this upcoming game? What do you think the score is going to be? What are you going to think of some notable players? And with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.